Welcome back to Ironsword and Rime of the Frostmaiden. This is episode 14. One of the things that I try to think about when I'm making iron vows for Karl is to use good verbs. Using verbs like find and rescue and kill or destroy, like very solid, clear verbs that give exactly what you want to have happen, are really helpful for your players so that they know what the actual mission is. Things like help or investigate that are kind of vague. Sometimes they're useful, right? So my first vow that I swore was to help Haf because I didn't know exactly what trouble he was in. He might have just been lost. So I could have used rescue, but I chose to use help. So sometimes it's okay to use vague verbs, but realize that if your players are struggling, like if you give them investigate and they do what they think they should be doing to investigate, and they're not really going the way that you wanted them to, it may be because it's not a very clear mission for them. So try to use verbs that are really clear. When we last saw Karl, he was escorting 5 folk who had been taken up Kelvin's cairn by Garrett. They seem also confused, kind of like Tessa. Like they don't really know how they got there. They had some vague impression that they wanted to hike the mountain. Then the Yeti descended on them and Garrett led the Yeti away, but everybody else scattered. So these 5 made it somewhere down the mountain, but then got captured by a bunch of Durgar who had a little fortress there. These Durgar were also stealing things from the nearby town of Caer-Konig. So Karl, not knowing that there were prisoners at the time, Karl swore that he would retrieve the stolen objects. He and Haf followed the trail left by the dwarves, made it into this outpost, found these prisoners guarded by an ogre zombie, as well as these Durgar. They freed the prisoners. They fought off the Durgar and the ogre. And then they found the leader of the Durgar, straight up murdered him. Karl is getting to be a little bit like more mean, I think. He's definitely softer than when he left Lonelywood way back when. So straight up murdered that dwarf, grabbed the stolen objects. We're going to just do a single undertake a journey roll here to get across the tundra. On a miss, you are waylaid by a perilous event. All right, well, let's see what the perilous event is. I guess the first question is the perilous event a blizzard? Let's ask the oracle. It is a blizzard that is our perilous event. So Karl was worried about this as they're headed across the tundra. It starts lightly snowing and then the wind whips up. He gets out his rope, ties them all up together, and this is going to be a face danger for him. I think this is going to be with heart. I think this is courage and strength and resolution in the face of this difficult challenge. All right, weak hit, but face a troublesome cost. I think the most obvious thing is he's having to use some ropes. He's using a bunch of supplies to try to cobble together enough shelter for them. It's not going to be enough for all these prisoners. There's 5 prisoners as well as Karl and Haf. So they're going to have to do a little igloo shelter, kind of dig into the tundra if they can, kind of use the tent, use some tarps, whatever they can to try to get themselves some shelter out of this blizzard, face danger and hunker down in the blizzard. Now, the next question is, does something bad come along during the blizzard? Let's ask the oracle. I'm going to say it's unlikely, but there are certain monsters that wander around during blizzards. All right, no monster comes to them during the blizzard. They settle in, hunker down, and outlast it. Eventually, the wind dies down. They dig themselves out, shake themselves off, and Karl takes a moment to reorient and heads in the direction that he hopes is Caer-Konig, but we're going to do another take a journey and see if he's right. Another miss. That's bad. So I think that this is going to be a random encounter. As Karl is trying to lead the party across the tundra here, a bit of the tundra moves, shakes itself off. It was partially buried by the blizzard, and looming up is this massive snowy owlbear. Seeing this group of people, this thing is hungry. It's on the verge of starvation. It sees them and charges. I think I'm going to make this snowy owlbear dangerous. I think that it's just barely starving, so I think that it's probably weak and not doing so well. There's not a lot of game out during the rime because there's not a lot of things for them to eat. Let's enter the fray. That's going to be a miss, so we're going to see what price is being paid. I think the most obvious thing is that the owlbear just fully grabs one of the former climbers, one of the prisoners that the dwarves had, and pulls it out of the rope line and just starts munching on it. And this poor helpless person that Karl was trying to help get across the tundra safely is just eaten fully by this owlbear, which is bad. I think that that's going to give us a little bit of a spirit hit. It's pretty traumatic seeing someone eaten in front of you. So Karl is quite shaken, but nonetheless, he raises his bow and he's going to try to pepper this thing with some arrows. He, I think, being a little bit shaken by seeing this thing rise out of the tundra, his arrows go off the mark and he doesn't even begin to land it. This owlbear is just like chowing down on this poor prisoner. They are screaming for a while. I think this is going to be some more stress that Karl is enduring here. He's still trying to do his best, though. He's realized he's lost this prisoner, but he can at least hopefully save the others. So hopefully we'll be able to turn this around. Finally manages to land a couple of arrows on this owlbear as it's desperately getting a snack here in the form of these poor people. I think this is mostly a spirit problem for Karl. Finally gets a strong hit, which is good, but what we really want is a strong hit on something that's going to hurt this thing. Continuing to clash with it, lands a few more arrows, which are good, but I think that he realizes the arrows are probably not going to be sufficient, so he drops his bow and draws his axe and wades in. In doing so, the owlbear clips him with a claw. Haf is there trying to stab the thing, but it's moving all around. It's got this person in its beak, and they're just having a tough time of it. Karl gets injured, and he fortunately cleared wounded, which is good because he's at 0 health. He missed his endure harm, so he gets wounded again, trying to hack away at this owlbear. We've got to do something. We're going to try to turn the tide and risk it all. And he's coordinating with Haf. Get on the other side. Get on the other side. And they're going to go at it at the same time. And hopefully, flanking this thing, they'll be able to be successful. So this is going to be a strike. Yes, that's a strong hit, which they really needed. We'll take the harm, and we're going to end the fight. Also a strong hit. Fantastic. Karl and Haf managed to attack at the same time. Haf stabs his spear fully into the owlbear. Karl goes in, hacks at it with his axe. The owlbear screams in pain and is limping away, bleeding, and finally collapses. Karl takes the fellow who had been a hiker and looks him over, and Karl looks over this person that had been a hiker led by Garrett and was then imprisoned by the Duergar, and they're just dead. They fully got eaten by this owlbear, and Karl wasn't able to help them. What does that do for our vow? I think it's a problem because we had a vow to get these folks back to Caer-Konig. We've definitely lost one. I think we're going to up the difficulty rank of this. I think it's going to go from troublesome to dangerous because obviously this tundra is a lot more dangerous and harder to navigate than Karl originally thought. He thought it would just be a quick, straight shot. He's made this trip 3 times now. He thought it would be okay, but it's not turning out that well. So there's really no way to lay this person to rest. They don't want to drag the body all the way back to town. So unfortunately, they're just going to leave him. Karl is going to try to secure an advantage. He's not much of a leader, but I think he's going to try to say some inspiring words and tell people, you know, I'm sorry. Icewind Dale's gotten so dangerous. I'm going to do my best. I'll try to help get you back home. That's a miss. So I think that the most obvious price is that the people that he's been leading are not comforted. And I think that they're going to regularly be challenging him now. He might need to do some face danger with heart if he doesn't get them back to town relatively quickly. So let's try to undertake a journey again. No more health, no more spirit. If this isn't successful, they're going to have to settle it and make camp because Karl can't have another fight. Fortunately, strong hit. I keep forgetting this. For Wayfinder, I get a +1 momentum when I get a strong hit on Undertake a Journey. They managed to make it across the tundra back to Caer-Konig. We're going to mark some progress on escorting the prisoners back. And I think that's it. I think Karl did not do a great job with that vow. So he gets them back. He's going to try to fulfill this vow. The odds are not good. All right, on a weak hit, there's more to be done. Yeah, I think that what the more to be done is that these people came from all over 10 towns, and now they're just brought back to Caer-Konig. They're basically refugees. They don't have any money. They don't have any supplies except what they took from the Duergar. So hopefully the locals will kind of take them in, but ultimately someone needs to help them get back home. And that someone could be Karl, but I think he has higher priorities right now. He's got a lead on his sister, so I think that he's going to head in that direction. Now, we did return the stolen object, so we're going to roll to fulfill our vow on that. That gives us a strong hit. Excellent. So we're going to get 3 experience total from those 2 vows. Is find the sister. So now he's discovered she wasn't with Tessa. She's now maybe at East Haven. This vow is now gone from formidable to extreme. So he had previously marked 5 boxes. So we are going to reset this at 5 ticks for an extreme vow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he just got some more information about his sister's location. So he's going to add a little more progress. So this is tough. This is going to take him a while, and he's going to be all over Icewind Dale. He's going to help Haf get Tessa back. I don't think they're going to bring Tessa along with them across Icewind Dale on their adventures. I think they've got to go with their plan to head to Tourmaline and then to Lonelywood, get Tessa home, maybe resupply, talk to people, figure out what's going on, and then go back on the road and see what they can find out in East Haven. Before we do, there's some relationship things that I neglected to do. So first of all, he wanted to forge a bond with Garrett, who's the hiker that took the folks up the mountain. He saved his life as well as rescued the people that had hired him. So when they get back to Caer-Konig, he chit-chats with Garrett a little bit more, finds out a little bit more about his life, and hopefully makes a valuable ally, because knowing a mountaineer would be really good. This is not a skill set that Karl has. All right, they asked something more of us. Well, I think Garrett is going to come along with us, at least part of the way. He's going to ask to come with us. He can come with us as far as Tourmaline, and then he'll go south and we'll go north. Traveling in a group is always better, so Karl is for this. So we're going to mark that bond. We also want to try to forge a bond with Caer-Konig after having returned the stolen goods. So they return the magic lamp to the Northern Lights Inn, and they hang it out the door, and it goes through its pretty colored spectrum. They return various other items. There are a few of these strange glass black shards, which nobody claims. Karl's going to hang on to them. I don't think he has any concern about them. I don't think he knows what they're for, but he's going to hang on to them. They seem interesting. So we're going to try to forge a bond with the town here. That's going to be a miss. I could burn momentum to get a weak hit, but they're going to ask me to do something. Yeah, we'll go ahead and burn the momentum to get that weak hit. And what the citizens of Caer-Konig ask, they're a little bit freaked out by this Dorgar fortress apparently being relatively close by. And so they want Karl to go back, make sure there's no other baddies there, and then they'll feel safe. Karl is going to do that. He's going to swear an iron vow. I just talked about using good verbs. So what would be a good verb in this case? Because I don't think, making it safe is pretty vague. I think explore the extent of that stronghold and defeat any other baddies that are there. We're going to swear that vow. We're going to make this a dangerous vow. On a weak hit, you're determined, but begin with more questions. That's not too surprising. I think the main question is, where do the dwarves come from? It didn't look like it was, a settlement per se. There were no, women or children. It looked like a pretty military complex. So I think that there's some mysteries there for sure. And Karl also doesn't know, are there more Dorgar there? Is there anything else that's there? We're going to have to figure that out. But first, we've got to rest up here. And I think the people of Caer-Konig are pretty supportive of that. So let's sojourn. We do not have a bond, but Haf is being his friendly, chatty self. And so people are more than happy to have them hang out for a while. All right, so we get to clear our wounded condition, which is good. I think like I talked about before, instead of rolling a bunch of sojourns, we're just going to let that ride. So these people are actually welcoming. They let him rest for as long as he wants. So he's going to get his health back up. He's going to get his spirit back up. He's going to be pretty prepared for this next task, going back to the Dorgar stronghold, making sure there's nothing else bad there. And, maybe if somebody in Caer-Konig would find this place useful, they could take it over and, I don't know, use it as a base for going up the mountain or exploring further around the tundra. Maybe someone can find some use for this stronghold. So he's going to go explore it and deal with any baddies that are there. Haf's going to come with him. Garrett, I think, is still kind of recuperating. He's not going to go with them for that, but he will join them for their trek across the valley. We'll see what happens next time. Thanks for watching.